So, hello and welcome to our next episode of the Dove Testimonies. We are glad to God for the gift of life. We are glad because of His mercies. We are glad even for the strength, even to do what we have purpose to do today. As usual, my name is Catherine Mwangi, and remember, I'm coming to you all the way from the Dove. In today's episode, I'm privileged to have a family and counseling therapist or a marriage counselor, and his name is Raymond Mwaura. He'll take us through a very interesting topic, but a very serious topic in life, because it's all about relationships and marriage life. So he'll take us through the topic to do with long distance relationships. Karibu sana Raymond.
Thank you, Catherine. Our viewers, I can see that you are ready to listen to us. I hope you're doing well wherever you are. This is the Dove area, the place that where we work, and majority of the people who work here have left their family because this is a workstation. It's a non-family workstation. And that's why we give opportunity for you to have the testimony to understand that as you're away from your family, our aim is to encourage you and to motivate you to keep doing what you do and for goodness of your family. So for it to work. Are you in a relationship, long distance? This is our message today, that the long distance relationship can be enhanced and can be equipped to work better to support your family and your needs. What is this long distance relationship? Long distance relationship, we specifically talk about the people who are in relationship. You are either married or you are dating somebody who is far from where you are. And myself, as a marriage and family therapist, I still want God to define a relationship that are aimed as family level. It is good to understand that God created man and woman, and He desired that they enjoy life together as companions of each other. And we talk of relationship has three components. Relationship have intimacy, relationship have commitment, and relationship have passion. And you're wondering how does the three merge to be one? This is where now you need to define the relationship you are in. Is it for permanency or for temporary? And that's why God intended for marriage to be a covenant, and He blessed the institution of marriage. And when in that institution, it is not the institution that works, the institution is blessed, but the two of you must find a way of making it work. So relationship, whether it is long distance or short distance, there can be dysfunctionality. And it is your role to make it function. If you're a man and if you're a woman, you need to know what is your orbit. You know the Earth, the Moon, and the other planets, the way they rotate around the Sun without colliding. When you understand your role as a man, when you understand your role as a woman, and when you connect together, you can find a bearing of where you're going. And we start by saying that a relationship, we call it a relationship sound house, where at the beginning of all the foundation, there is love maps. Other than love maps, there is that understanding of a shared meaning, and a shared meaning that the other two falls on how do you resolve conflict and how do you manage your relationship. Thank you. Welcome.
Wow, that was such a good introduction, and we are glad that the marriage counselor has put it to us that it is the plan of God for marriages to work, for a man and a woman to come together, they establish a family, and in fact make it to work. You've also said that it is all about our understanding about the roles that we have in the family, and that is actually, that would define whether our relationships will work or they will not work. He also said that whether you are close to your spouse or the person that you are dating, or you are far away apart, that one may not be a determinant, but it's all about you to make that decision, to make the relationship to work or not to work. We are glad that this far could be some of us, we've already picked some points that can actually encourage us or even make us to have a good understanding of long-distance relationships. So you've told us about, it's all about our decision. There are scenarios whereby could be someone is working away from the family, either abroad or even within the home country, but could be one of the two, could be the man or the wife may tend to establish another relationship somewhere, and could they give an excuse that, my wife has been far away from me, so there is no way I would have managed alone. Do you think that is enough reason, could be to make, could be this family to be dysfunction?
For one, when we talk about relationship, we mean that a couple have to decide why are they in that relationship. And a relationship that you determine, I want to make it work forever. Initially, we talk of vows, like you vow in church and say, I am committed to this woman, or I'm committed to this man, for better, for worse, for richer, for poorer, for health, or for bad health. So these are commitments that people make those vows, and they invoke God as a prayer. But when it comes to the day-to-day working and living with each other, it is that commitment that one needs to make, that I'm supposed to make this person's life better by me being functional in their life. Because God never intended us to marry all the people around the world. So you see beautiful people all the days, you see better people than your partner, and you always be looking forward for, I want to be better. But remember, we all look for Mr. Right and Mrs. Right. And there is no one who is Mr. Right or Mrs. Right. The thing is who handles you well and who take care of your needs and who do you have a shared meaning. And that's why I introduced the issue of love maps. Love maps are, if you visit a place, you need to ask for the map of that place. So you need to know the territory of that place. So at the back of our heads, we all look for somebody who would love us as we would want to be loved. So it is not somebody who loves you because they think you need to be loved that way. So one needs to express, like I express, I want to be loved this way. So I look for somebody who will love me as I am, who will accept me, who will affirm me, who will appreciate me, and who will approve me. So that's somebody who already they have declared publicly, and they also look forward to live with you forever. So that means in this relationship, for continuity and for the marriage to work, there must be a deep decision inside that I have chosen this person amongst others. So now, the reason why people establish other relationships outside their own is because their needs are not met. So the proximity is very important. So, and we need to discuss how long should you be away from each other.
Anyway, Raymond Mwaura, just to take you back, there are people who could be, they establish their marriages and yet they don't get to go to church to make those vows. Because that is one thing that, as you said, that we should respect the vows that we make, and we make sure that we live according to the vows that we make. Someone could be say that I didn't go to church, so I didn't vow. So what about those who do not establish their marriages, could be in church or in holy places because of other religions, and they feel like it's not a burden to respect that vow?
Marriage is a covenant. That's the first thing. It's good to understand it from a covenant, because you make a covenant That's the reason I say you make a vow. You can either you make it before your parent, before God. It's a covenant you are entering with somebody. And that covenant is binding depending on who you have invoked the name. So the intention is for the person to honor the vow of that covenant. But you realize that not many people uphold those vows and those covenants. And that's why I say, like, whenever there is a relationship, somebody's needs, when they are met, they are not met, they tend to meet their needs outside. And that's why I stated over the position of how long are you from each other, because that brings the level of relationship must have communication of needs and needs met, such that I must be able to express my needs, and I must also seek to fulfill the needs of each other. So it is from the word go, it can be a marriage blessed and with the vows in the covenant, but the people in that relationship, the object of the love of each other, are not functioning to keep each other in that covenant. Because you may be working very hard to chase each other from the covenant. So it is that issue of, can we agree to fight and to fight fair and to make it work within that covenant, where in that relationship, nobody is a missionary to each other. So you're not trying to shape me to fit your mold. You are allowing me to grow and blossom in myself as God intended. So nobody should be there with a chisel and a hammer trying to shape each other to fit their own need. And that's why instead of being selfish, you become compassionate. And that being compassionate allows you to admit that your wife is not a goddess and your husband is not a god. So they have the limitation of the resources. So you need to be compassionate to understand that your partner has a limitation of the need. So whatever you're asking your partner to do, you need to be in a position where, and that's why the issue of the vows and the covenant comes in, because God being the originator of the family, He's the same one who provides for the family. And He's the same one who keeps the family together. But a time comes now, people need to look at each other in the eye, and they ask each other, what is wrong with our operation in this marriage? So that you can fix the dynamics of the relationship because of the power control and the roles we play in our house.
Wow. Yeah. I hope you are learning. I hope you are learning and you are taking notes that we can establish in our relationships. And we hope that our marriages, whether long distance or even relationships, whether long distance or short distance, they are actually going to work. And there's a key point that I've picked from your conversation, that it's not about trying to change your spouse so that he can fit where you actually want him to fit. It's about accepting him, and also
you accept the person.
It's not about it's about compassion instead of being.
Yes, when you're compassionate,
yes,
you are able to accept the person. You are also to give them affection. You also approve for what they do, and you affirm them for who they are. So when they are with the person feels they are valued in that relationship.
So it's our challenge that we need to accept our spouses, our fiancés, or our friends, just the way they are, and appreciate them, and let them feel that they value and they matter in our lives, so that our relationships can actually work.
And it's a two-way, so that both of you must find a working formula where you are able to talk to each other in an honest manner without judging each other. So we need to be to be genuine and compassionate when we are handling each other. That's where the word compassionate comes in. And by the grace of God, our family can be able to grow and thrive in whatever situation they are in. So it's the issue of, the first thing is commitment, inviting God in your relationship, and also committing yourself to each other for personal growth and development. Because most of the people, when they got married, they didn't know that their marriage has to undergo a cycle. There's something we call the marriage or a family cycle, where when I was single, I was dating a single girl. When we live together, we become one, and then we have a child. So the 9 months of pregnancy, usually people tend to separate from each other because of the demand of the new baby. And that takes a woman like 2 more years for this baby to be independent out of the mother. And there's a tendency for ladies to be so much occupied with the work and also to be with the demands of the child. And there is a conversation that moves maybe the gentleman and each other, they lose each other. So that's a marriage task at that time. So it is good to understand that every life cycle has a task that needs to be done by both of the couples. Such that if you have, in the times of the pregnancy, what is the task that need to be worked on? Then if the child when the child is independent, then the other children there, do you lose each other? Do you still connect for intimacy, for passion, and for commitment? Do you have you time as a couple? Then it will go to a moment like now the children will leave the home. So it is a full life cycle which has a developmental task that demand all of you to function.
Thank you so much that you've been there, listening and watching our conversation, and I'm sure you have picked a lot, if not only one, about how we can make our long-distance relationships to work. So it is an ongoing topic. We hope to bring in our counselor next time so that we can continue to exhaust more on this, and we believe that we shall continue to be a blessing. So thank you so much for joining us and even having this one together. See you next time. Continue subscribing, continue liking our conversations, and also continue sharing so that together we'll grow better and better. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Goodbye.